Kokchaplaima Opansho Mohon Lut no muito claimani bishingtei. Juda kerong rok no tei kaisa Kokchaplaima Panda Shongta Zakat Norsingor National Law Universityo Arofai Manjaka Narwai Angai Supreme Court ni kacham Dorbafang Deepak Gupta Manjaka Tripura High Court ni Dorbafang Orindom Lut no khoboi juda Dorbafang ro.
Students and staff members of the High Court of Tripura who are present here today, as well as the National Law University. At the very outset, let me express my deep gratitude to Honorable Mr. Justice Deepak Gupta, who is gracing the first Opangshu Mohan Lodh Public Memorial Lecture as the principal speaker. I am fortunate to witness this historic moment when the legacy of my father is being preserved for the generations to come. Right at the moment, I remember a quote of Neil Armstrong. When he landed on the moon, he made a famous remark that this is a step for a man, but huge steps for the mankind, unquote. Similarly, the first Opangshu Mohan Lodh Public Memorial Lecture, held in memory of my beloved father, will forever remain a landmark in the history of academia and judicial system of the state of Tripura. We have had the privilege of observing Justice Gupta's inspiring leadership since the day he assumed the charge of this High Court. His Lordship had a deep affection for the High Court and the people of Tripura, embracing them from the core of his heart. Justice Deepak Gupta had a special bond with the state, and he cherished a bigger High Court, a very brilliant High Court, which we are trying to fulfill. We still recollect those golden days, his tireless effort to achieve the constitutional goal and to uphold the rule of law. His Lordship, I still remember his Lordship, took up so many public interest litigations which brought about a significant transformations in the state of Tripura. As you know, he is an architect of modern judiciary in the state of Tripura, and this place where this auditorium is constructed and the entire judicial academy, he had chosen and selected this place to construct a judicial academy for the state of Tripura, for the High Court of Tripura. It is a moment of pride for all of us that today we are standing on the same ground which was chosen by His Lordship more than 11 years back, when it was a total desolate place. This public memorial lecture is special to me and my entire family, including my octogenarian mother, Srimati Aloka Lodh, my daughter, Srimati Abhishekta Lodh, who is the present proprietor of Tripura Times and one of the patrons of these endowments. My younger brother, Sri Abhijit Lodh, and my younger sister, Srimati Joyati Lodh. I also express my heartfelt thanks to my better half, Srimati Shima Lodh, the present editor of Tripura Times, and Sri Orghara Chanda, my son-in-law, for their constant encouragement and inspiration creating this endowment. I shall not lengthen myself further, as a video presentation will be played before you, highlighting the contributions of my father. Thank you. Thank you.
It's a proud privilege for me to come and deliver this lecture today. I'm grateful to the National Law University Tripura, the Vice Chancellor, and especially Mr. Justice Arindam Lodh, for giving me this opportunity. My tryst with Tripura would not have started if Mr. Panshu Mohan Lodh had not fought for a separate High Court. So I am here because of it. So, and it's always, Tripura is like a second home to me, and it's always a pleasure to be back here. Honorable Justice Amarnath Lodh, Judge High Court of Tripura, Justice Arindam Lodh, Judge High Court of Tripura, my esteemed brothers, Justice U.B. Shah, Justice S.C. Das, and Satyagopal Chattopadhyay, Shaktimal Chakravarti, Advocate General, Mr. Piyush Kanti Biswas, and Mr. Purushottam Roy Burman, Mr. Subrata Sarkar, senior advocates, and other members of the bar, members of the family of Mr. Panshu Mohan Lodh. This was my only newspaper which I used to read, the local newspaper which I could read. Though within 1 year I had started reading a little bit of the Bangla papers also. I could read the headlines and a little bit of that, because the news, there were hardcore news. Tripura has the maximum media concentration, Agartala, than any other part of the country. Mr. Dr. Yogesh Prasad Singh, Vice Chancellor of the University, and Registrar General, faculty members, Registrar General of the High Court of Tripura, and my dear brother and sister judges of the Tripura District Judiciary. Dear students, ladies and gentlemen, officers of the registry, it's always wonderful to be back in Tripura. When I had the good fortune of coming to Tripura and taking oath as its first Chief Justice on 23rd March 2013, one of the people who welcomed me was Mr. Panshu Mohan Lodh. He was there when I unfurled the flag on 15th August. But he died, I think, in 2014 or 15? 14. I attended his funeral also. So the association with him was quite close. He was like a father figure to the entire judiciary of the state. And he encouraged me, great words of wisdom. But since there has been the memorial, a very well presented movie on him, I don't think I can add anything more. So coming back to the topic of the day, when I was asked to speak, I have chosen the topic, rule of law and the role of the High Court. I have divided my address into two parts. First, what is the rule of law? Aristotle, the great philosopher, wrote, law should govern. It's a very simple statement. But what does that mean? Law should govern. There would be a set of rules by which everybody should be governed. The citizens of a nation should be governed by law and not by the ideas of certain men or group of people. Otherwise, Professor Dicey is normally credited with introducing and propounding the concept of the rule of law. But one sees its applicability in various more ancient civilizations. I mentioned Aristotle from Greece. Even in India, we had a lot of kings who ruled according to Nyaya or who ruled according to Dharma. Both of them are also, in a sense, rules of law. But the problem with these rules of law was that they were very individual-centric. One king could be very fair, could apply the law strictly in accordance with the law, but his son could be a despot who would say, I will do what I please. So there was no, and therefore when modern democracies came into place, it was felt that it is better to have a written constitution where the rule of law is embedded there. Well, not so modern, I wouldn't say modern, but the written concept of the rule of law finds its first manifestation in June 2015 in the signing of the Magna Carta. I think many would be aware, but just to enlighten you, King John ruled England at that time. The king was not a very powerful king. There were a lot of noblemen and barons who were fighting with him. The church was also an important part of the body politic in England, and there was a lot of tussle between the three. And the king, to fight his wars against his own noblemen, had taken loans from King Philip, also the King of France. And he had to pay back the loans, so he increased the taxes. Now taxes are neither paid by the church, nor are they paid by the noblemen. They are paid by the poor peasants, who will pay it to the noblemen, who will give it to the king, or they are paid by the poor pious people in church, who will give it to the church and who will give it in turn to. So then there was a lot of tussle, and there was thinking started, and then this concept started that why should we govern in this manner? Why can't we have a set of rules to govern? Document. But I would like to read two articles of the Magna Carta, which I find that even today's world, anywhere in the world, whether it is Ukraine, whether it is the US, whether it's India, they're relevant today also. And I'll quote two articles, Article 39 and 40 of the Magna Carta. Article 39 reads, and I quote, "No free man shall be seized or imprisoned, or stripped of his rights or possessions, or outlawed or exiled, or deprived of his standing in any other way, nor will we proceed with force against him, or send others to do so, except by the lawful judgment of his equals, or by the law of the land." So the king promised that I will not take any action against every one of my subjects unless it is prescribed by the law of the land and the decision is taken by his equals, his peers, which is the start of the jury system, as they know it. So this was something this was the first time it was sort of written down. And Article 40 of the Magna Carta is also very important, and I quote it just one line, but probably very, very important, something which every judge should also revisit time and again. And I quote, "To no one will we sell, to no one deny or delay rights or justice." This simple one line embodies what a court and a judge's duty is. To no one will we sell, to no one will we deny or delay rights or justice. You don't need 20 paragraphs, this one line says it all. But like it all happens after the signing of the Magna Carta, after we have so many judgments, things still don't proceed as they should. And this division led to a constant conflict in England between the church, the king, and the courts, or even parliament to a certain extent, because parliament was separate. In 1607, King James was the King of England, and Edward Coke was the Chief Justice. And at that time, Edward Coke passed one or two judgments, and I think I'll have to